We all know this, but I feel like it's good to remind you. It just gets more insidious. You cannot get the time back that you're wasting. The really scary thing that I'm going to briefly mention is what is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to talk about something a little bit different than I normally talk about. Typically on this channel, I'm mainly talking about books. That's kind of my thing, but something that I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand with that is social media, because a lot of times what we're doing as like bookstagrammers and booktubers is promoting books, the books that we love, the books that we didn't love so much, on social media. And an app that I have never had, I've never downloaded it onto my phone, was never really interested in it, is TikTok, which I feel like makes me a little bit of an oddball in today's society, especially as someone who is younger. I'm a millennial, so maybe I'm kind of aging out of the typical demographic for TikTok, but I wanted to come on here and kind of share some of my thoughts, because I'm starting to get a lot of information and kind of educating myself about this app. It just gets more insidious the more that I learn about it. So TikTok doesn't need an introduction from me. You guys know what it is, you know what it does. When we were all quarantined inside, internet usage just in general was like through the roof. So this is when TikTok really took off. And once we were back in the building, everybody was like talking about it. Do you have TikTok? Do you have TikTok? Like, it all of a sudden was just like this new big thing. I've always preferred either Instagram, because I think posting really pretty pictures is fun. I love taking pictures of my books when I'm out and about and showing you guys what I'm currently reading. And then I also love YouTube. Longer form is just my jam. I like creating it and I like watching it. So I don't even think I ever really came close to downloading it. And now that I know more about it, I definitely don't plan on it. Ironically, around the time TikTok was really getting big and people were becoming TikTok famous, I was kind of going in the opposite direction, and I started setting screen time limits. On Instagram, I have a 15-minute timer that will go off once I've been sitting on that app for 15 minutes. It's a good reminder, especially if I do get sucked into the shorts. If I am just mindlessly scrolling, it's a good reminder. After I set limits, I actually went through and unfollowed and unsubscribed from everybody. Typically follow people who like we look up to in a sort of way, but then it kind of feeds into that like really dangerous habit of comparing yourself. So I went through on Instagram, I unfollowed everybody. I still am following 0 people, and it's been pretty great because I can look up anybody at any point in time if I want to like catch up with what they're doing. I'm not constantly barraged with stuff in my feed. One of the things that I have recently discovered from watching Moon here on YouTube, he's got a couple of really good videos about this, and I will put them in the description box. So he talks about how the American algorithm is different from the Chinese algorithm. So TikTok is a Chinese created app, if you guys didn't know, and I'm going to insert a clip for you guys that kind of illustrates how differently the app is used, but not even by choice, because it's the algorithm. You don't even really have a lot of control in what you see. So I'm going to insert a clip for you guys now that kind of illustrates that point.
TikTok is particularly appealing to a younger, more impressionable audience. You may be thinking a possible negative effect on children and teenagers is a flaw of the internet in general and not really specific to TikTok, but TikTok is designed with a pillar of the CCP's original propaganda philosophy in mind, the construction of role models. There's a reason why China's version of TikTok, Douyin, is so different from the version they send to the rest of the world. If you're a child under the age of 14 in China, Douyin shows you the educational videos like science experiments and museum exhibits. And yet if you're that same child in the United States, TikTok shows you sex, vandalism, crime, social disruption, and other dopamine-satisfying degenerate clips. And when preteens in the US and China were surveyed, asking what is the most aspirational career they hope to achieve, the #1 answer in the US was to be a social media influencer, while in China, it was to be an astronaut.
Essentially, what is so scary about all of this is that the Chinese algorithm, it's going to motivate you to do good for your country, and the American algorithm keeps you distracted. It's destroying Gen Z's attention spans. It's pumping really pointless capitalistic content at you. And I get it, we live in a capitalist society, that's kind of unavoidable, but you have this really dangerous mix of following somebody who you maybe have like an emotional attachment to, and then seeing a product. And so advertisers know those things together are a lot more powerful than just showing you a random ad for something that you didn't even know existed before it popped up on your screen. And we all know, of course, it is not good for our mental health. That is kind of the whole point of this video. We all know this, but I feel like it's good to remind you. Maybe this is like the sign from the universe that you kind of need to take a break for a little bit. I'm not going to do a deep dive in this video because this video is kind of supposed to be like an overview, but if you do want to go into like the actual hard evidence, I will leave links to studies in the description box. Also, filters, like I just have to say this because I've been a victim to these before. Like the beauty filters, there's a very particular beauty standard, right? We're all very aware of this, and I have actually worn them before in a video. Even though I already had like a face full of makeup on, I was filming some sort of book video and just didn't feel confident. I didn't feel comfortable, and so I put a filter on top of the makeup. That's just one tiny little example of what social media, like one of the negative sides, is it's making you feel, oh, I'm not pretty enough to be filming this video. Like, that's horrible. Basically, these filters are telling young women, like, if you don't have these big eyes and a tiny skinny little nose and Bratz doll lips, then there's something wrong with your face. Like, that's basically what these filters do. Now, TikTok is not the only app with filters. I think I was actually using Instagram for that particular video that I was talking about, but pretty much all of those apps do promote a very unrealistic and very specific beauty standard, which is really heartbreaking when you think about how it's the younger generation, like it's Gen Z who's using social media the most, and they're the most vulnerable and the most impressionable. Like, I don't know how I would have felt. I was born in '93, so I really grew up with technology. There was like MySpace and Facebook, but like Instagram, TikTok, they were not a thing. Now that I'm of an age where I could be having children of my own, I'm very concerned about like how I would raise kids in a world where social media is a really common thing. Like, if you're a parent, then I commend you, especially if you're someone who actually tracks what your kids are doing online. The really scary thing that I'm going to briefly mention is I work in the field of education, and Gen Z is becoming unteachable because of the attention span, like the lack of attention span. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of kids who, like, their parents don't let them have phones, or they have phones but they don't have social media. But unfortunately, if you have parents who aren't on top of their kids' social media use, they talk over you. They can't concentrate on something for more than 5 minutes. It's all about, when can I take a break so that I can scroll on my phone. Kids don't read nowadays either. Like, there have been plenty of assignments where they've had to like think of a book, and we'll make like a thesis statement for an essay that we might write. They can't think of anything, and we have to change the prompt because they've never read a book. And that's not on the kid, that's on the parent too. Like, that's what's kind of sad, is it's not even like the kid's fault, but that's a whole other conversation. And I know what we're trying to do is just escape boredom, but boredom is actually really important because it allows your brain and your mind to wander and have thoughts, like self-reflective, deep thoughts that you might not have otherwise. And this leads me to my final point, which is time. This is the thing that I think scares me the most, and is the reason why I started unfollowing people and setting a screen time limit. You cannot get the time back that you're wasting. And the time that you get to yourself, when you actually get to spend on the things that you want to do, is pretty rare. I mean, when you're young, you do have a lot of free time, but as you get older, that time dwindles down. We spend a lot of time sleeping, we spend a lot of time like doing other important life things, and so it's kind of sad to think a lot of our free time just goes down the drain. Like, we just spend it staring into a screen. We all have like a thing that we want to accomplish. There's always some sort of goal, there's always something, some sort of dream that everybody has. And you could actually be spending the time learning about that thing, educating yourself about that thing. I don't know how many times I have spent a day just watching YouTube instead of writing on one of my manuscripts like I should be, because it's the easier thing to do. I hope this video didn't feel too much like a rant. I'm just wanting you guys to kind of reflect and be like, okay, is TikTok actually, or social media in general, is it actually doing anything for my life? Am I benefiting from scrolling in any way, shape, or form? If so, great. If not, think about taking a break, or maybe even deleting the app. I've seen so many people online talking about like how they did like a digital detox and realized like how much control it really had over them. I would highly recommend that you guys do that. And just see what it's like. I'm gonna be doing that this summer. You guys let me know if you have tried this and if it's helped and what you guys think. I'm not sure if I should take a week or 2 weeks or a month. In modern society, that kind of makes you a rebel, and I kind of like that. I like that idea. The most rebellious, cool thing you could do nowadays is to actually not be on those apps and to just be doing your own thing and living your own life. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.